One thing that really needs addressing is Thomas Tuchel's England squad. Now, it's his first pick as England manager, and it's fair to say it's raised a few eyebrows for not too great reasons. In fact, I've even heard the under-21 squad being touted as a better squad than the senior one after the picks. But I see his reasoning. Let's talk through a few of the candidates, shall we? So first of all, there's 4 goalkeepers, which I kind of understand to a degree. I don't think all 4 goalkeepers are going to see game time, let's face it. But I think each of them deserves a chance to be acknowledged for their form. Obviously, Aaron Ramsdale's had a more difficult season, but I think this is Tuchel's way of saying that his talent hasn't gone unnoticed, and he's actually pulled off quite a lot of saves this season that's made it not as bad a season for Southampton as it could have been. So I understand that pick. Obviously, Dean Henderson's in great form at the minute with Crystal Palace, makes perfect sense. Jordan Pickford's still the outright number 1, and James Trafford's had a record number of clean sheets in the Championship. So yes, it makes sense to have those names attached to the squad. But when they're not going to see game time, all of them, I really don't understand that to a degree. I see Tuchel's probably using these games, which are going to be quite easy, I think, on paper at least, to demonstrate to certain players that he has them in their thoughts. And I think that's the train of thought behind one defender in particular joining the squad, and that's Kyle Walker. Now, he's obviously moved to Milan on loan. I haven't seen any Serie A, so I don't know how good he's been. But I honestly thought we'd seen the last of him in an England shirt, really, purely because he's lost a lot, hasn't he, in the last couple of years in terms of obviously his pace. But I think also just his presence, I think, as a defender. He's not really been at it as a Premier League defender, definitely. So again, he might have done better in Serie A for Milan. But there's plenty of players who could play that position. So he has to be in the squad really for his experience, I guess, rather than to be an actual starter, which again, I understand. You don't want to put too many youngsters in your first squad. You need some experience in there too. I guess that's why Dan Burn is in there too. He's obviously had a tremendous weekend anyway, but his experience, I think, is vital at Premier League level, and he kind of has earned it on merit to a degree as well. He has been in better form, I think, in recent games. So I understand that to a degree as well. But will he start? Who knows? You know, maybe after his heroics at the weekend, Tuchel might have seen something there that makes him feel like he deserves it. Now, another one's Reece James as well. He's not been in the England fold for a while, obviously been injured on our sidelines for a number of missed international camps. But he's quality, isn't he? And obviously he's worked with him at Chelsea and had great success with Reece James as well. So I understand that too. But yeah, limited amount of minutes is still a question mark for his inclusion in the squad. But let's move to the midfield, shall we? I think that's where the biggest eyebrows have been raised. One name in particular is Ajax captain Jordan Henderson. Now, Henderson hasn't seen an England squad for a couple of years now, and he hasn't played at the top level since he left Liverpool to go to Saudi Arabia, which was short-lived, of course. Since he's been in the Eredivisie, for me, it seemed like he's always wanted out of Ajax. Every time I've seen him in a press conference, he hasn't seemed very happy. So again, I have to assume Tuchel has put him in there for his leadership qualities more than anything, because it is a midfield that is quite light on that voice, I guess. But I think when there's players like Adam Wharton who haven't made the squad, it does look a little bit short-sighted. But I don't know, you've got to give a new coach a chance to do what he needs to do, I guess, to prove the kind of coach he is and the kind of ethos and mentality he wants to embed. And I guess Jordan Henderson must be a key part of that for Thomas Tuchel. I will say, great to see Morgan Gibbs-White in there. His omission initially, I think, angered a few fans, but is there a player in better form in that kind of role at the minute? Probably not. I think he's worthy of if not a starting place, then at least a cameo substitute appearance to see what he can do in an England shirt against opponents that won't be too big a test for him, hopefully. And also, I think Morgan Rogers too. Excited to see what he can do in an England shirt. Dominic Solanke, I guess, to a degree, deserves his place there too. He's been in decent form for a struggling Spurs side, not scored a particularly large amount of goals, but interested to see, I guess, what he can provide. There are a few players I kind of don't understand why they're not there too, I guess. Jed Spence, be a good chance for him to join the England squad. But this is Thomas Tuchel's squad. This is the kind of players and team ethos he wants to embed. Let's just give him a chance and see where it goes. We all moan about England to a degree over the years, don't we? And they've been fairly successful, and they've got a group now in the qualifiers that is pretty straightforward. So why not embed different ideas, different methods? Although seeing the likes of Henderson in the squad does make it feel like it's a step backwards. So the pressure's almost on Thomas Tuchel from the first game, isn't it, really, to prove that he knows what he's talking about.